Fighting is primal. You destroy somebody. It can't be explained or replicated or replaced because it's primal. It's built inside of every man to hurt another man to the point where he can no longer resist. And obviously I'm not a thug. I don't want to do it on the street, so I do it fair competition. Do it on the street, you can sideswipe a guy, you can stab a guy, whatever. That's not fair. It takes balls to get in there and have a fair fight. So now I have to cope. I do it too. I don't fight anymore, I'm retired. So I'm just gonna have to make $100 million a year, I guess. Because if I don't, how else can I replicate the feeling of being the man? So if I make $100 million a year, and if I buy 56 supercars, and if I have 40 properties, and a private jet, and a yacht, all these bitches. Don't listen, baby. All these hoes in a line. Why am I doing all that? I mean, if I was kicking the shit out of people, I probably wouldn't be as motivated. But I'm very motivated to make a shit bunch of money and do all this other stuff because I'm not kicking the shit out of people like I used to. And I'm still training every day. Imagine I didn't even train. Do you have any idea what kind of savage I'd be in my mind? Even being financially successful to try and exert your dominance is cope for fighting. It's all the same. Men are all the same. We're all intrinsically the same. That's how we work. Where did this start? Ice baths? Bro, ice baths. So gay. But I feel like I can extrapolate this to anything. What else do people do that's... In fact, it's all white people shit. Wait. It's coming to me now. This is the white man's fault. It's all coming to me. The African ancestors were right. Pan-Africanism. Dr. Umar. Because they're always the ones trying to cope. Maybe because us brothers, like, we're built with the intrinsic ability. The melanin allows us to see the white man's punches coming. And we can slip and we can hurt him. So because we have the intrinsic ability to fight, because black people can fight better, it's inside of us, so we feel like we don't have to cope as much, whereas the white boy feels like he can't fight, so he has to cope. So to try and prove he's a tough guy, he does some dumb shit, like swim with sharks. Think about it. It's all starting to come together. Yeah, you can kick the fuck out of me, but look, I went swimming with sharks. I can still kick the fuck out of you. You're just an idiot. That's the worst cope ever. It doesn't prove anything. What does that prove? That you were lucky? That the shark wasn't particularly hungry? That's what you proved. Your life was not in your hands. There was no skill involved. You were just lucky that the shark was uninterested in tasting your pasty ass. I don't get it. Bro, let me tell you something. I almost went skydiving once. I've already done a Tate speech on this, you can watch it on. I almost went skydiving once. Walked into place, not a single black guy. Should have known. I was like, boy, something's up here. I've done a whole Tate speech on it and why I didn't jump out the plane. But basically, the realization came to me. Jumping out of a plane, the whole game is jump. I'm supposed to die. Ha ha ha, I didn't die. That's the game. Look, I was supposed to die, but I didn't. Once again, no skill involved, no power or masculine, no bravery. I didn't even call it bravery because it's just blind luck, dumb shit. Caving. What the fuck are you white people doing down in caves? There is nothing down there. War and dark. What the fuck are you doing? I've never seen a black person caving. I've never seen one. Being half white, half black gives me unique perspectives. You know, I can tell when it's white people shit, and I can tell when it's black people shit. Bro. But basically all of it is cope for fighting. And I'll admit, there's some things that I wouldn't do that other people will do to try and prove to me they're a tough guy. And you and your flawed logic might think, well, Andrew, if you're so tough and you're so brave and he'll go caving and you won't, doesn't that make him braver than you? And my answer is no, because I can kick the living fuck out of him.
I'm going to offer everyone at home a business opportunity. So I want you to get a pen and paper. And I want you to pay attention because anybody who's watching this stream, for the first time in your life, a billionaire is going to offer you a business opportunity. And we're going to talk about what it is, how it's going to work, why I'm going to allow losers and peasants like you a chance to finally change your miserable lives. I'm going to go through all of it. And first, I want to give a bit of background and explain. I'll take my headphones off because, much like my brother, I no longer take this seriously. Explain where all of this has come from. At the absolute highest echelons of masculine capability, where I reside, you have no idea how the world really works. But basically, I am, without tooting my own horn or blowing my own trumpet or being arrogant, one of the most famous, interesting, smart, sexy, tall, brown, gorgeous, charismatic, intelligent people alive. And for that reason, there's a whole lot of people who are very interested in the things I say, which is why the Matrix attacked me in the first place, which is why we went to jail. We've talked at length about the fact that you are only allowed to have an opinion if you're irrelevant, and your relevancy has a direct positive correlation with how much trouble you will get in if you speak about certain subjects. You're allowed an opinion if no one listens, but if people listen to you, you're supposed to say certain things. As well as that, you get a lot of opportunities. A lot of people come to me and say, Andrew, can you talk about this? Or will you talk about this? Sponsorships, affiliates, etc., etc. And I say no to all of it because I don't want to dilute my content or dilute my brand. And I have very little interest in discussing anything other than things I want to talk about because I already have all the money in the world. However, I came up with a genius plan. And I want to discuss this genius plan with you. The genius plan was born from somebody telling me that I should be having conversations with other large accounts on X, trying to convince them to be like me and no longer sell their souls and shill for the devil. But that sounded like a fruitless task, and it also sounded like a whole bunch of work to try and convince a bunch of losers to stop being losers when they're all money-hungry losers. If you look at most of social media, all of these streamers are losers. They'll do anything for clout and money. Everyone on Twitter is full of shit. They're all losers. But there is a shift in consciousness which is taking place. Do you agree with that, Tristan?
I completely agree, and I feel like we are at least in part responsible for that.
Absolutely. So there is a genuine shift in consciousness that's taken place on X. Elon has bought X. Rumble also exists. And age-old narratives which were enforced by the Matrix and propagated and purported are now being destroyed in real time because the truth is setting people free. People had certain ideas about certain things or countries or situations which could not be challenged because the MSM only supported one side of the story. But now the public is awake. We've been lied to too much. And people are starting to understand that everything's a lie and the truth is starting to come out. And for the first time ever, truthful narratives are gaining massive momentum on alternative news platforms like X and Rumble, which means that the general person at home has an understanding of how the Matrix works, and the general person at home is more awake than they've ever been and is more likely to rebel against the garbage which is face.
Yep.
However, the large accounts, instead they just try to enrich themselves.
Yep.
So when I was having this conversation, someone said to me, yeah, you need to finally get the large accounts,
challenge them
and get them to start telling the truth. And then the Matrix will finally be broken because the people at home already know it. So if we can get the large accounts on the side of truth also, then we will win the battle and it'll be over. And then I came up with this genius idea. Instead of trying to convert soulless accounts of clowns to the good side, instead of trying to find people and show them the light who have already sold their souls, why don't I find people who already understand the truth and make them big? Think about it. Instead of me going to an account with 100,000 followers and saying, you're lying and you know you're lying for money, stop lying for money, which is going to be basically impossible. Why don't I take someone who tells the truth and make them have 100,000 followers? Isn't that more productive? Doesn't that prevent rewarding people who shouldn't be rewarded because they sold their souls? Doesn't that give people at home who tell the truth, who want to attack the Matrix and expand their consciousness and the consciousness of humanity a chance to benefit from a massive following? Isn't that a much better way to approach things? So I came up with the idea of getting 1,350 people to get an account with over 100,000 followers within 6 months, which is 13.5 million followers. These are people who understand the truth of the world. I will work with them, they will work with me, and we'll all work with each other, and we'll create a powerhouse of Aikido truth. We'll create a tidal wave, a tsunami of truth, which will come head on and attack the Matrix like a force field. The Matrix will be hit by this tidal wave of truth, and it will attempt to hold back the tsunami, and eventually it will start to wane and flash in and out like you see in the video games until it eventually collapses, and the Matrix collapses, and the tidal wave of truth sets us all free and washes away our sins. It is my plan to make people famous if they're not an idiot.